What's up, guys? It's Mitch with SC Weather. Hope y'all are having a great Sunday, an awesome day. I'm gonna make a purely educational video here. This is not a forecast or anything. Before we start, if you could subscribe to my channel, that would be great. It's an effort to try to keep my growth going and to keep it strong in a little bit of a slow period we got right now. But what we're going to talk about here is the common misinformed thing of when people look at the humidity percentage outside, relative humidity, versus dew points. So most people who have a common knowledge of weather or don't know how much knowledge, just your average person that, you know, weather just isn't their thing. They just look at it, go outside, and they get a gauge of it like that. Some people use weather apps like Weather Channel, their local television weather app, things like that. I guarantee most of y'all don't look at dew points. What y'all look at is that humidity percentage. If it says 100%, you're gonna assume that it's really humid outside, right? I'm assuming you're saying right. So actually, that is not a good way to gauge the humidity outside, believe it or not. And I think that most people, your average person, uses that. And here's why. So first of all, we're going to start out with this chart right here. This is a dew point chart from the National Weather Service in Chicago from a while back. Anything less than 55 degrees, a 55-degree dew point would be considered, it feels kind of dry outside. 55 to 60, comfortable. 60 to 64, slightly humid. And you know, you can read it. 65 to 69, it starts to get kind of muggy outside, kind of humid. Then very, very humid when you start to get into the 70s. And then when you get above 75 to near 80 degrees as a dew point, you're dealing with like Florida kind of humidity, and even that it's that humid out here right now. Actually, the dew point, I believe, at my location here in Lexington, South Carolina, is 76 degrees. That is crazy, and that's what's kind of inspired me to kind of do this video. So let's get started with this tweet by Brad Panovich. And he is a very known meteorologist throughout the country, and especially in the Southeast. He's very respected. I had a little bit of a typo here, but ignore that. He says, why dew point is better than relative humidity? The relative part of the relative humidity means it changes as the temperature changes. So the dew point stays stable, and the higher it is, the muggier it is regardless of temperature. So what is he basically saying here is he's saying that the relative humidity fluctuates. It fluctuates mainly off if it's raining outside, if it isn't. That's what I've always noticed, and that's basically the facts. Relative humidity is always going to be higher in the mornings when you have the dew points really close to the temperatures creating dew. And it's just always a little bit more muggy in the mornings. So when the dew points are in the 70s in the mornings, when it's really muggy but the air temperature isn't that bad, I'm sure y'all wake up here in these summer mornings, July and August and June, it's like, dang, it's muggy outside, but the air temperature is not that hot. It's in the 70s most of the time in the summer. So it's not that bad, right? Right, but the mugginess is there. And the dew points are probably in the 70s. The temperature may be like 73 and the dew point's 72. It's riding right behind it. So as the temperature rises throughout the day, what you'll notice if you look at the dew points stay around the same depending on if you have a stable environment or a pattern in place where there's no fronts that's coming through that's going to lower the dew points and make drier air. So basically, temperature will rise into the 90s, but your dew points will stay in the low 70s. So the humidity stays the same because we got to go off dew points, not humidity. So for instance, right now, let's go into how it feels right now. I'm going to show y'all some examples of why you don't use relative humidity or the humidity percentage on y'all's apps. So let's go right into that. So check it out. I have right here on Weather Underground the conditions at my house reading off my weather station on my roof right now. Right now it is just past 12 and it is about 93 degrees. So if you look right here, you look at dew points. The dew point is 75. That is ridiculously humid, guys. That is nasty today. And the heat index is 105 right now. So it is ridiculously hot. But check it out. If you can see it, humidity, 56%. So your average person who goes off humidity would walk, before they walk outside for the day, if you're just getting outside at 12:15, thinking, man, the humidity is not that bad, right? I mean, so it shouldn't be that humid today. And then you walk outside and you're like, good gracious, feels like the armpit of hell out here, like I have to call it. So honestly, that is the most prime example right there of you can't go base off and check it out. And I'll look on my phone, and I'll admit it, I have the Weather Channel app. I'll look at it to see how much it changes and fluctuates for model runs. So obviously not everybody has their own weather station, right? So if you use something like the Weather Channel app right here, like right here for Lexington, 92 degrees it says. Now, if you look at it, you scroll down, scroll all the way down past all this, and you'll get to today's details. So it says it kind of matches up well to my weather station. 53% humidity, dew point of 72. So it has the option to look at dew point right there, 72. So before you go outside, before you do outside activities, don't look at that humidity, look at that dew point. And I just showed y'all that chart. So you know, if the dew point is 72 degrees, it is humid as heck, regardless of that humidity percentage. So what causes the humidity percentage to fluctuate? Well, the main thing is rain. So basically, if we had a storm right now, the dew point will probably maybe go up a couple degrees, but it's really the humidity percentage that will be influenced by that, because you got moisture in the atmosphere. It's an all-out downpour, and the humidity percentage would probably go up to 70, 80, maybe 100% because it's pouring down rain, right? So that is a prime summer example of that. Here's a winter example, because this is important also. So check it out. This was back over the winter, and it was about our coldest day of the winter last year, as far as just altogether cold as a low, and it didn't warm up much at all. So one thing you want to look at, check out the dew points right there. 27, that is dry. That is super dry. The low dew point was 20. So when you get dew points like that, that's when you start to, probably get some kind of chapped lips and stuff. And your hands are super dry, and that's not bone dry air, but that is a pretty chilly air mass that was on during that day. But check it out. This is another prime example why you don't look at humidity percentage. Check it out, 79% humidity. What? On a day that it's freezing cold and the dew points are in the 20s? So that tells you right there that doesn't add up at all. So, I mean, if you went off humidity percentage and you went outside and you're like, and before you went outside, you checked your app and it said 79% humidity, you would think, well, dang, it's pretty humid for a winter day. Then you go outside and it's 30 degrees. And let me tell y'all guys, when it's 30 degrees, it don't matter if there's, let's say 35 degrees. If it's 35 degrees and it's raining, it doesn't matter how hard it's raining. It's not going to feel humid. But your relative humidity, because it's raining outside, will probably be pretty high. So, that's about the most prime example in the winter that you can choose out of. So don't go off relative humidity. Don't look at that really at all. It doesn't play much of a gauge on the feels like at all. So basically, if you wake up in the morning, tomorrow morning for example, you wake up in the low temperature, because the low temperature is around 6 to 7 a.m., is 73 degrees. So if you look, you'll probably see a dew point of about 72. So, or 72.5 or whatever, depending on what kind of device you're looking at. An app, it'll just be a solid number, it'll be 72. Air temperature, 73. So the relative humidity, the humidity outside will probably be 99% or 100%. That's because they're right beside each other. And basically, the atmosphere cannot hold any more water. So your humidity is 100%. So it's the same thing if it's 30 degrees outside and the dew point is 29 or 29.9. So the air temperature will not drop anymore until the dew point drops. So at that point, it's probably raining, freezing rain at that point. At that point, the humidity is probably 100%, even though it's 30 degrees outside. But keep in mind, the dew point is probably 29 or something. So it's still, as far as your comfort level, it's still a dry air mass. It's essentially your comfort level will still make you say, okay, it doesn't feel like how it does in July when your humidity is 100%. If humidity is 100%, it's normal in summer. It's normally going to be, you got a severe storm, some kind of storm on top of you, it's torrential downpour, and it's cooled the temperature from say 90 degrees to 75 degrees, and it won't cool no more than that because your dew point is at like 74. You kind of get what I'm saying? So basically, this would never happen. Say you got an air temperature of 95 degrees. Out of nowhere, you get a storm and it starts making your temperature drop. So what if your dew point was at 50? Like you had a dew point of 50 degrees. Well, essentially, if your dew point doesn't rise, which it would. If your dew point doesn't rise, essentially your temperature can drop all the way down to 51 degrees or 50.5, just above the dew point. That doesn't happen. What really happens around here is you got a temperature maybe 95 like right now. You get a storm out of nowhere. Your dew points are already in the low 70s. It drops your temperature all the way down to the low 70s. It won't drop anymore because there's too much moisture in the atmosphere to drop it any further. So as long as that dew point sits at 71, 72, your air temperature is going to sit at 72, 73. It's not going to drop below the dew point. If it drops to about the dew point, that's what creates fog, and that's what would create precipitation, just flat out moisture that you can visibly see in the air. So even the National Weather Service here, if you read it, you can read all this right now. I might want to pause the video. It says, even at the end, it says, so if you want a real judge of how dry or humid it will feel outside, look at the dew point instead of the RH, which stands for relative humidity. The higher the dew point, the muggier it will feel. So things for like right now, in this specific time, if you're watching the video today, your heat indexes are so high because your dew points are so high. And in the grand scheme of things, your relative humidity is high too. It's in the 60s, which is high considering there's no rain around outside right now at all. That just kind of signifies how much moisture is in the atmosphere right now. So basically, if we got a storm, we could go into a whole nother thing, which is basically your water values, how much water is in the air. Essentially, if we got a storm right now, it would pour cats and dogs because there's already, the atmosphere is basically begging for it to rain. So I'm starting to sweat my butt off in here because I'm in my shed because I don't have a place in my house to do it. So yeah, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe so I can get out of this. But anyways, so great examples there. Man, I'm trying to think of anything else that I could make it more, provide more clarity to it, but yeah, so don't look at the humidity percentage. Don't mess with that. Look at the dew point. The dew point's going to tell you how it's going to feel outside. I know that's a little different. That's a little weird than what you're used to. Same thing with heat lightning. Everybody kind of thought heat lightning was a thing, but heat lightning is not a thing. It's just a storm way off in the distance. Sorry to bust y'all's bubble there too. But so always look at dew points if you really want to know how humid it is. But I'm gonna tell you right now, in the summer in South Carolina, the dew points are always in the upper 60s or low to mid 70s. So there ain't no surprise there. But that's all I got, guys. I hope that educated you a little bit and will help you with figuring out how the weather's gonna be. I got y'all covered with that too. And y'all have an awesome day.